She waited at the wrong airport gate and met the right person. The departure board flickered, and Maya's hands went cold. Gate 27. She had been sitting at gate 72 for the last 40 minutes, watching strangers embrace their loved ones, completely unaware that her entire flight, her entire plan, her entire reason for being in that airport was boarding on the opposite side of the building. When the announcement finally cut through the noise, final call for the flight to Denver, her heart dropped into her stomach, and she realized in that instant that she was about to miss the one flight that mattered more than any other flight in her life. If you believe that some things happen for a reason, that even our biggest mistakes can lead us exactly where we're meant to be, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me you believe in the Golden Buzzer World Official. Share this with someone who needs a little hope today. And subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. Now, let's get back to Maya. 3 years earlier, Maya Simmons had been a woman who planned everything. She color-coded her calendar, arrived 20 minutes early to every appointment, and treated spontaneity like a disease to be avoided. But grief has a way of rewriting a person from the inside out. Her father had passed away suddenly the winter before, and in the chaos of hospital rooms and funeral arrangements, something in her had come loose. She stopped trusting her own precision. She stopped believing that careful planning could protect her from anything at all, because she had planned his recovery, planned his treatment schedule, planned every visit, and none of it had saved him. So, when her college roommate invited her to a wedding in Denver, Maya said yes almost recklessly, without checking flight times twice, without printing her boarding pass the night before, like she used to. She told herself it was because she was busy. The truth was quieter and sadder. She simply didn't have the heart to care about details anymore. Details had failed her once. Why would they matter now? The airport that morning was chaos, the kind that swallows people whole. Delayed flights lit up the boards in red. Families sprawled across gate areas with sleeping children draped over suitcases, and announcements blurred together into a single wall of noise. Maya had glanced at her ticket, seen the number 72, and walked with the confident stride of someone who believed she had done everything right. She did not know that her eyes had skipped right past the smaller number, beside it terminal, C, gate 27, printed in a font just slightly too small, for a woman whose mind was somewhere else entirely, somewhere back in a hospital room, holding her father's hand. By the time she understood her mistake, tears were already burning behind her eyes. She started running, her suitcase wheels screaming against the tile, apologizing to strangers she bumped into, her breath ragged, her chest tight with the specific panic of watching your only chance slip through your fingers. And then, right as she reached the security checkpoint separating her from Terminal C, an announcement confirmed what she already feared. The Denver flight had closed its doors. She had missed it. Maya stood frozen in the middle of the walkway, people flowing around her like she was a stone in a river, and for the first time since her father's funeral, she let herself cry in public. Not gently, not quietly. It was the kind of crying that comes from somewhere much older than a missed flight, the kind that had been waiting for permission for months. She sank into a hard plastic chair at the nearest gate, not even the right gate, just any gate, and put her face in her hands. That is when she heard a voice beside her, calm and unhurried, asking if she was all right. She looked up, expecting a stranger's polite indifference, and instead found a man in his early 30s with tired eyes and a kindness that seemed almost out of place in the sterile airport lighting. His name was Daniel, and he explained, almost sheepishly, that he had been sitting at that gate for 2 hours because his own flight had been canceled and rebooked 3 times that morning. He wasn't trying to fix her problem. He simply handed her a small packet of tissues from his bag and said something that stayed with her long after that day. Sometimes we end up exactly where we're supposed to be, even when it feels like everything went wrong to get us there. Maya laughed through her tears, the kind of laugh that surprises you because it arrives uninvited in the middle of sorrow. She told him about the wedding, about the flight, about how she never used to make mistakes like this, about her father, about how ever since he died, she felt like she was walking through fog with no map. Daniel listened. He did not try to solve her, did not rush to give advice, did not check his phone while she spoke. He simply listened, the way people rarely do anymore, as if her words mattered enough to receive his full attention. He told her, in turn, about his own reason for flying that day, a job interview he was terrified of failing, in a city where he knew no one, chasing a fresh start after a divorce that had quietly gutted him the year before. 2 strangers, sitting at the wrong gate for two different flights, found themselves speaking with the kind of honesty usually reserved for people who have known each other for years. There is something about airports, about liminal spaces where nobody truly belongs, that strips away the performance we carry through ordinary life. Maybe it was the exhaustion, maybe it was the grief, maybe it was simply the right person appearing at the right moment disguised as the wrong gate. Airline staff eventually rebooked Maya onto a later flight, 5 hours away, and instead of retreating to a quiet corner to wait alone as she once would have, she stayed beside Daniel. They wandered the terminal together, sharing overpriced coffee, trading stories about childhood, about fear, about the strange business of trying to keep living after life throws you sideways. She watched him check his phone nervously before his own delayed flight, and without thinking, she reached out and steadied his hand, telling him he was going to walk into that interview and be exactly enough. He looked at her, like no one had said something so simple and so necessary to him in a very long time. When boarding finally began for his flight, they exchanged numbers with the awkward hesitation of two people who suspected something meaningful had just happened, but were afraid to name it too quickly. Maya boarded her own flight hours later, arriving at the wedding late, missing the ceremony entirely, but sitting through the reception with a strange, unfamiliar lightness in her chest, a feeling she hadn't experienced since before her father passed. It wasn't happiness exactly. It was something quieter. Hope, maybe. The sense that life had not finished writing her story after all. Daniel texted her that night. He got the job. And more than that, he told her, meeting her that morning had reminded him what it felt like to be truly seen by another person. Something his marriage had slowly stripped away from him over the years. They kept talking after that day, first through messages, then through late-night phone calls, then through a visit Maya took to his new city, 3 months later, standing nervously outside his apartment door with flowers she wasn't sure she should have brought. If this story has touched your heart even a little, if you believe that the wrong turn can sometimes lead us to the right person, please take a moment to like this video. Leave a comment sharing your own story of an unexpected meeting, and share it with someone who might need this today. Your support means more than you know, and it helps stories like Maya's reach people who truly need to hear them. Before we close this chapter, I want to ask something special from you. Comment the word golden below if you believe some detours in life are actually divine redirections, if you believe missed flights and wrong gates can still lead us home. Maya and Daniel got married 18 months later, in a small ceremony neither of them had overplanned, because they had both learned that the most beautiful moments in life rarely follow the schedule we print on a boarding pass. Sometimes we have to lose our way completely to finally arrive exactly where we were always meant to be.